What's up guys, welcome back to another Destiny 2 Black Armory weapon review video. In today's video, I'll be going over a Forge auto rifle. It's called the Ringing Nail. Now, I know I'm a little late on this review, but I did want to wait to do it because you can get the Curated roll from the Bergusia Forge. But on how to obtain this weapon, this is a Black Armory weapon, so you need the auto rifle frame and complete the various steps you need to do, and then forge it at either the Volundr Forge, or you can forge at the Bergusia Forge and have the chance for the Curated roll to drop. Going over the rolls that I use, so I was actually using the Curated roll in PvE. Obviously precision frame, this weapon's recoil pattern is more predictably vertical, 450 RPM. It has a short and medium zoom sight. I just went with medium zoom just to increase that range, but if you want to increase handling, I would just go with the short zoom sight on it. Magazine slot, we have high caliber rounds. Shots fired from this weapon knock the target back farther, slightly increases range. Next, we have Dragonfly. Precision kills create an elemental damage explosion. And then we have Rampage. Kills of this weapon temporarily grant increased damage. That stacks up to 3 times. I also put on a Dragonfly spec, so when Dragonfly explodes, it actually does like an increased radius and damage, which is pretty cool. And it comes automatically with a tier 10 stability masterwork when you get the Curated roll. Now, when it comes to PvP, the rolls I was using, one of them actually had Mulligan and Zen Moment, and the other one had Under Pressure and Kill Clip. And I'm not going to go over every single roll that I had. Just know that I only used the roll if it had solid perks on it. Obviously, with it being precision frame, this falls in the 450 RPM archetype, like I mentioned, which gives you a little better vertical recoil, and it has pretty solid stats overall just down the board. Going over a good mod, I would go with a minor spec mod for PvE, a counterbalance mod for PvP, and maybe even use a Dragonfly or Rampage spec if you have a roll with one of those. Obviously, my PvE roll, I could have went with Dragonfly or Rampage spec, but I decided to do Dragonfly spec just for funsies. Like, it's pretty cool to watch more enemies explode. Going over good masterwork, I would suggest going with a range or stability masterwork in general. Going over PvE and the PvE side of Gambit, this weapon can be very effective if you get a really good roll. I actually, as I mentioned, got the Curated roll with Rampage and Dragonfly, so again, put that Dragonfly spec on so it does more damage, and if you get any kills with that splash damage, it actually goes toward your Rampage stacks. That was kind of like my mindset when it comes to it. Auto rifles in general perform fairly well, and they're a little more forgiving versus scout rifles or hand cannons. Depending on your role, it can do well in both casual PvE and just the endgame content. Even in Gambit, it's going to shed through those lower tier enemies very, very easily. Not so much against those blockers or primeval damage, but definitely on those lower tier enemies. Again, this is a primary weapon. It takes primary ammo. It's made to take out those lower tier enemies a little faster, and your secondary is made to take out those higher tier enemies, heavy, DPS, you know. So I guess this is where this one falls. But if you don't get the Curated roll, a PvE god roll itself would have the short or medium zoom sights on it, a pen mag, high caliber rounds, ricochet rounds, flared magwell or light mag in the magazine slot, Dragonfly or Shield Disorient in trait column number 1, and Rampage or Kill Clip in trait column number 2. It's really cool. Even if you don't get the Curated roll, you still have the chance to get Dragonfly and Rampage with a random roll. Going over the Crucible in the PvP side of Gambit, it performs alright. In my opinion, the precision frame archetype of autos are the worst out of all the autos in the current sandbox. They've been nerfed so many times, I don't even know if they're a viable option to use anymore versus other weapons that have higher TTKs or even other auto rifles. So if you decide to use this weapon, it performs best at a medium range. Any closer, a shotgunner can take you out, and any farther away, you'll probably be outgunned by pulses and scouts. So you have to make sure when you're hitting, you have to make sure you're hitting all your shots, because if you start missing, you'll definitely be dropped. Like, that's the bad thing with auto rifles, is that yes, they can perform well, but they're not super, I wouldn't say they're not super forgiving. It's just other weapons can hit headshots easier versus auto rifles, in my opinion. I will give it that if you catch somebody off guard, it can shut them down, and it's more of a cleanup weapon versus trying to engage a full health group of Guardians. In Gambit, it won't perform super well because most of those PvP engagements are at a distance, so if it's all you have, like, make sure you're in a good position to take somebody out. Again, as I mentioned, I don't think this archetype of pulse rifle is really good. It's got nerfed into the ground, like when Ural's gift came out and Positive Outlook and stuff like that, and it's very unfortunate the situation it is. But if you do wanted a PvP god roll, it would have the short or medium zoom sights again, high caliber rounds, ricochet rounds, flared magwell or light mag in the magazine slot, Zen Moment, Under Pressure or Quick Draw in trait column number 1, and Kill Clip, Tap to Trigger or Disruption Break in trait column number 2. Going over some useful exotics and perks, the only one I can think of is the Armamentarian, which will keep this weapon's mag full, so you don't have to worry about reloading it all the time. Now again, if you have Kill Clip, maybe you don't want that, just to make sure you can reload. Plus, any other auto rifle perks like targeting, dexterity, and flinching, Anything like that will help out your gameplay a lot. Going over my final thoughts, overall, I think this thing is way better in PvE than PvP because of the current sandbox, but it can be effective if you do get a solid role. Again, with the Curated role, freaking amazing in PvE. Like, exploding enemies everywhere, getting rampage proc, having high caliber rounds to make enemies flinch. Like, the Curated role itself is just pretty solid. We're now at the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, but there are 3 things I want to go over. First up, my clan, the D1 Fireteam, is looking for active players in the Destiny community. Our members play all sorts of activities from casual PvE and PvP to the endgame content. If you're actively playing Destiny 2 and want the benefits of a bigger clan, the link to join is below. It'll say clan link. All you have to do is request to join, and myself or one of the admins will approve you. If you're with a smaller clan and want the benefits of a bigger clan, and you have, like, let's say, like 7 to 10 members, I'm just using that as an example, but if you want to come over, just send me a message on any of my social media links and we'll try to get something set up. Number 2, if you want to know how to support me, there's a link below that says best way to support me. That'll take you to a 4-minute video. If you want to go check that out, that would be awesome. But if you don't want to do that, you can always like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and all that good jazz if you want to do any of those things. Lastly, we have a link to the community Discord below. Just a heads up, we're looking for anyone with moderator experience to potentially run the Discord. I know for myself, I'm more of a player instead of a manager, so if you have some moderator experience, just send me a message and we'll try to get something set up. I know for myself, I'm on Xbox, but if you guys would like to talk or chat with me, Discord is going to be the best way to do those things. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you next time.